Good morning. This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Thursday, February 17th. Precipitation the past 2 weeks, you can see not that much. The first shade of blue, just a couple of hundredths of an inch. The darker shades of blue, a quarter inch or a little bit more. Well below normal here. You can see 0 to 20% of normal for the past 2 weeks. A lot of that precipitation, as meager as it was, came in the last 2 or 3 days. And you can see on the left, snowfall past 72 hours, the shades of blue, roughly 2 to 4 inches, a few pockets of locally higher amounts, 6 inches or more in parts of western Wyoming. Snow cover on the map. Still covering a fair amount. It's just not as deep as it was. We still see a fair amount of it across the eastern Snake River Plain and the foothills of eastern Idaho, and scatterings across parts of northern Nevada. Much higher amounts, again, in the mountains where you would expect it, 20, 30, 40 inches of snowpack. But in terms of percent of normal, where we were about 30 or 40% above normal at the start of January, we are now about 25 to 30% below normal in a lot of areas, especially in southern areas. Closer to normal, although slightly below normal across Idaho. Looking at fuels, these are 100-hour fuels, and down in the south, the southern Nevada, the Arizona Strip, into southern Utah, you can see 100-hour fuels in the upper single digits, and even 1,000-hour fuels in the single digits across parts of southern Nevada, the Strip, and again into southern Utah. Those places have been missing the storms. They've been warm and dry and breezy last couple of days, and even up into parts of northern Utah and Idaho, still in the low teens for the 1,000-hour fuels. That's still quite dry. On the weather map, trough low pressure, which brought some light snows to parts of the eastern Great Basin yesterday, now moving out. You see a trough situated across parts of New Mexico and into Colorado and moving out. But another fast-moving system with clouds approaching from the north. This northerly flow will keep temperatures a little cooler than normal, and these north winds do accelerate coming out of the mountains into southern areas of Utah, the Strip, and southern Nevada. So we look at later this afternoon, you can see the dry air and those northerly flows. Some moisture starting to push out of Montana into parts of the central mountains of Idaho. Good overall dispersion in areas where we see the white and yellow, a little bit less where you see the red. Transport winds, and down here in the south, not super strong, but maybe 10 to 20 miles per hour. And it'll come with drying humidities across our far southern areas. Vertical mixing looks really good in a lot of areas here on the right. High pressure starting to build in, drier air tomorrow, a bit more stagnation, a lot more of that reddish area coming in. But the best dispersion will be in southern areas. That's where they'll still have some decent northeast breezes, and their vertical mixing will be excellent. Pockets of strong inversions hanging tough across the eastern Snake River Plain, where they continue with some shallow snow cover, keeping those surface temperatures warm, as well as some other areas of Idaho and northeast Nevada. On Saturday, dry air to the south. You start seeing more moisture building up from British Columbia down south, the advance of a next broad trough of low pressure, but we stay dry and seasonally a little bit warmer than normal. For the most part, light winds overall, except starting to pick up across the mountains of central Idaho. Vertical mixing decent in most areas, again, especially except for some of the deeper valleys that still have some snow cover. No significant precipitation in the next 3 days. It stays mainly to our north. And then on Sunday, this storm system starts taking shape, picking up moisture as it pushes into the Pacific Northwest, northern Idaho, and Montana. Excellent overall dispersion, and the trough deepens with moisture covering most of the Great Basin on Monday. Dispersion unlimited, really, as you would expect under trough low pressure, and the storm system continues to cover just about the entire area of precipitation. And even areas in the far south that escape precip will see much higher humidity levels overall. So that pattern continues into Wednesday with the trough low pressure starting to move out, but cold northerly flow continuing in its wake, and good overall dispersion. And here's the precipitation. I'd call it light to moderate amounts, a quarter inch to pockets of a half inch in some areas. So this could end up being a 4 to 8 inch snowfall event in the higher terrain. I'll bring some precipitation, not much to alleviate the drought or alleviate any upcoming fire weather concerns for the coming season, but some better than what we've had. And unfortunately, what we will have or expected to have in the 8 to 14 day outlook takes us from February 24th to March 2nd is drier than normal across much of the Great Basin here on the right, along with a cooler than normal signal. So a lot of the flow will be coming out of the north. And this concludes our briefing. Have a great day.